Took some time to tell you a little bit about the web app Sifter, and I'm back again. This time I want to step you through how to create your own Sifter, create a project that you could have people contribute, whether it's students in your classroom or scouts in your scout group or your homeschooled student or the members of your civics group. Lots of cool things you can do with Sifter, and we're going to get started by stepping you through how to create your own Sifter. For starters, we need to log in, and I'm already logged in. So when you log in, you're going to see any Sifters that you already have created. I'm going to create a new Sifter. On this very first screen, you need a name for your Sifter, and I'm going to call mine Food in the Winter. The categories, I'm going to use plants and animals. I'm being very simple here. And my description, this is what's going to show up in for the user as the instructions. So I'm going to say take pictures of plants and animals in the winter that are also food. All right. Over on the left-hand side here, you can see something that tells you to drag an image or browse. We could add a picture there, and that would give us a front-end picture. Let's try that. I'm going to go to Browse, and let's just, we're going to take this picture. You'll see this picture again in just a second. And now, the next thing we do, way up here, the blue box that says Next Appearance. So, what color scheme do I want? Because color is oh so important. I'm going to choose Nature. So any pins that get placed, any map points that are plants, well, they're not a whole lot of difference there. Let's find something with some contrast. The red pins will be plants, the yellow pins will be animals. I could add new categories, I could edit categories. The other thing I want to do here is to find this map. It's already kind of centered down near south of Madison, but I'm in central Wisconsin, near Wisconsin Rapids. So I'm just going to center that map. This just shows what the user, it's the default location for what the user is going to see when it opens up. The map can be zoomed and moved to anything afterward. I could move back to setup and change some things I've already done, or I'm going to click next for settings. First of the settings, do I want Food in the Winter to be a public or private Sifter? Well, I'm going to use this with my students, not really, but if I were going to use this with my students and it wasn't going to be something I wanted to try to encourage lots of people I don't know to use, I'm going to leave it as private. If I select public, then it will be searchable from the front end of this program, and we'll take a look later and search a few. I'm going to leave it private. Moderation. Do I want to have to moderate this? What this means is when my students submit something, does it get posted automatically, or do I have to look at it and say, yeah, that's good enough to go there? So I am definitely going to moderate this because, as I mentioned in the last video, I trust my students 95% of the time. Down below is a box that says URL. If I do absolutely nothing to that, then Sifter is just going to add a series of numbers to the end of sifter.org. It'll be sifter.org/ and then a series of numbers. That's the link that you could share with people in order to get them to visit your site. To make it easier, you could enter a word. I'm going to use food. So now if you look down here, if I went to sifter.org/food, that site would be used. I mean, that's where we would go to find that site. All right, next step, we're going to click publish. And we have, in fact, right down here, food in winter. 0 items, 0 contributors, it's private, and it's moderated. I can edit it. I can mess around with the categories if I'm not real thrilled with them. I can delete the whole Sifter. If I click on food in winter, I end up with no map pins, instructions. Remember when we typed in the instructions? This is where they are. Take pictures of plants and animals in the winter that are also food. We're going to add an item. In this case, because I'm on a desktop computer, I'm going to grab a picture of some basil I have growing under some grow lights. It's going to bring it in. And I need a real quick caption. I'm just going to call it basil. And I'm going to pick a location. And as I think I told you in the last video, if you move the map behind it, the pin stays centered. I need a category. Well, basil is plant, so it's going to be a red dot. And I'm going to publish that one. And gosh darn it, I approve. I am Joe and I approve of this basil. Let's do another one. I'm going to add an item. In this case, I went out to the hen house and grabbed a couple of pictures of the girls. So we're going to open up this one. Give it a description. And I'm just going to call it hens this time, just to make the point. Location is going to be the same thing. This time the category is plants. Oh, excuse me. Animals. It's been a long day. I'm going to publish that one, and yes, I approve of those hens. All right. Let's add one more just because. Went to the other grow lights, grabbed a picture of some rosemary, and it brings it in. Now, just as easily, if you were on a smartphone, this would be happening all by itself, the location part. And that's rosemary location. Just so we have some variety, we're gonna have that over by the interstate. Give it a category. Those are plants. We're going to publish it, and yes, I approve of that basil. It needs a little trimming. So, as you can see, I have, well, let me go here. I have my hens. I've got some rosemary. I've got some basil, and I'm going to hide my instructions. I've just created a sifter that my students would be able to use. In reality, this is not what I would use. Back to the list of my sifters, here's one that I am using. In fact, I'll introduce it to the kids as soon as tomorrow. They're going to be mapping the power grid in central Wisconsin or farther. They could send this link to Grandma in Poughkeepsie, and Grandma could help contribute to the sifter and figure out how electricity ends up being over there also. To give you an idea of some of the really exciting sifters that are out there, I'm going to click over on, from the front screen, I'm going to click on Discover, and I'm going to come all the way down to a project called Sustainable U. In this one, you can see hundreds of links. This was is a ongoing university project for a class at the UW-Madison. Take a photo of something around you that has sustainability components. And they're going to categorize them as water, waste, trash, water, waste, transportation, or energy. Again, it's been a long day. So if you were to select on one of these, there's the picture. why it fits that category, I could post a comment or I could share this picture on a social media website. The limits to what you can make or do with a sifter are, well, they're limitless. Lots of crazy things you can do, and if you come up with a great idea, I would appreciate that you maybe send a note my way so I can maybe try out the same thing myself. All right, thanks for your time. Sorry I droned on, but you know, it is what it is. All right, take care. Goodbye. Stay safe.